Oscar. Grandpa here. Lots of love from me and from Granny, and of course from Auntie Anna too. And it's lots of love to you and your little sister Annabelle, and of course to Mummy and Daddy as well. I hope you're all well. And Moosey's here. Hello, Moosey. Just to make sure everything's okay and I read it properly. Is that right, Moosey? Yeah. So Moosey's saying hello, and we'll read hopefully 2 or 3 books today. So the first book is going to be Trumpet. Trumpet is a sort of elephant from Timbuktu. Trumpet was a sort of elephant, a Timbuktu elephant. He lived in Trunk Cottage in Timbuktu. That's a nice cottage, isn't it? Trunk Cottage. As you know, an elephant never forgets. Did you know that, Oscar? An elephant never forgets. But Trumpet did, all the time. He was the most forgetful elephant ever. Poor Trumpet. One day he was out for his morning walk, or rather his morning plod, when he met Croak. Croak was a sort of frog. A green frog. "Hello, Trumpet," cried Croak cheerily. "Did you remember what day today is?" Trumpet shook his head. "Oh, Trumpet," said Croak, "you've forgotten, haven't you?" Trumpet nodded. And there's Croak, look. "Oh, Trumpet, you've forgotten," he says. "But an elephant never forgets," said Croak. "This one does," replied Trumpet gloomily, and plodded off. Gloomily. There's poor Trumpet, looking very sad. He met Moo. Moo was a sort of cow. There we are, Trumpet meeting Moo. "Hello, Trumpet," cried Moo merrily. "Did you remember what today is?" Trumpet shook his head. "Oh, Trumpet," said Moo, "you've forgotten, haven't you?" Trumpet nodded. Oh dear, there they are. Poor Trumpet. "But an elephant never forgets," said Moo. "This one does," replied Trumpet miserably, and plodded off. Miserably. Look, there he is, plodding off, looking very miserable. He met Woof. Woof was a sort of dog. There we are. There they are meeting. Woof sat on the wall there. "Hello, Trumpet," cried Woof, winking. "Did you remember what today is?" Trumpet shook his head. "Oh, Trumpet," said Woof, "you've forgotten, haven't you?" Trumpet nodded. "But an elephant never forgets," said Woof. "This one does," replied Trumpet sadly, and he was about to plod off sadly when he stopped. There's Woof, laughing. Oh, silly Trumpet. "By the way," he asked, "what day is today?" "Why, it's your birthday, of course," laughed Woof. "Many happy returns." "Good heavens," said Trumpet. "Tell you what," went on Woof, "when I want to remember something, I tie a knot in my handkerchief. And that reminds me." So there's Woof telling Trumpet it's his birthday and he's forgotten. That would be terrible, wouldn't it, Oscar? "Elephants don't carry handkerchiefs," replied Trumpet. "Well," asked Woof, "what do you carry?" "Very little," said Trumpet, "apart from my trunk." "That's it," cried Woof. "That's what?" asked Trumpet. Woof's got hold of his schnozzle. The trunk, elephant's trunk. Very long, aren't they, Oscar? "Your trunk," laughed Woof. "If you tie a knot in your trunk, that will remind you of whatever you want to remember." "Humph," sniffed Trumpet. "Like your birthday," added Woof. "Ah," smiled Trumpet, and tied a knot in his trunk. There we are. Oh dear. And plodded off. Happily. So Trumpet was very happy, wasn't he? Having tied a knot in his trunk. And Trumpet met Oink. Oink was a sort of pig. "Hello, Trumpet," cried Oink. "Do you remember what today is?" Trumpet shook his head. "And why do you have a knot in your trunk?" asked Oink. Trumpet looked down at the knot in his trunk. That's Oink asking Trumpet why he put the knot in his trunk. What do you think Trumpet said, Oscar? "Good heavens," he said. "I wonder how that happened." Oh dear, silly Trumpet. You can't remember anything. So we've met Woof the dog, so we'll have a story about Woof. A sort of dog from Timbuktu. Woof was a sort of dog, a Timbuktu dog. He used to forget everything all the time. Most days he even forgot where he lived. Kennel Cottage in Timbuktu. There we are. That's Kennel Cottage. That looks like a dog kennel, doesn't it? But it's really a house. This story is about the day when Woof forgot the most important thing in a dog's life. He didn't realise it until he saw a bird. Woof liked to chase birds. There's Woof and there's a little bird on the log. He opened his mouth to bark and frighten the bird. But he'd forgotten how to bark. Can you imagine that, Oscar? A dog that can't bark. He'd forgotten how to go woof, which is really very silly of him, because that's his name, isn't it? Oh dear. "Oh dear," he said, scratching his head. "What is it I'm supposed to say when I see a bird?" But could he remember? He could not. So there's Woof scratching his head because he can't remember. He met a cow. "Excuse me," he said, "what am I supposed to say if I see a bird?" The cow looked at him. "Moo," she said. "How silly of me to forget." There's the cow. Of course the cow would go moo. That's what cows do, don't they, Oscar? Woof saw another bird. "I'll give her the fright of her life," he chuckled. Look. There he's going to... What's he going to say then, Oscar? Yeah, I think you know. He crept up behind the bird and very loudly said, "Moo!" The bird looked at him. "You silly dog," she giggled, and flew off. Oh dear, poor Woof. Woof met a pig. "What am I supposed to say if I see a bird?" he asked. "Oink," said the pig. "How silly of me to forget," said Woof. He saw another bird. "Aha!" he smiled to himself and crept up behind the bird and very loudly said, "Oink!" Oh, his hat, he said it so loud his hat's coming off. The bird looked at him. "You stupid dog," she laughed, and flew off. Oh dear, poor Woof. Woof met a sheep. "What am I supposed to say if I see a bird?" he asked. What do you think, Oscar? What do you think the sheep's going to say? "That's it." "Bah!" said the sheep. "How silly of me to forget," said Woof. Silly Woof. He saw another bird. "Now I'll give you a shock." He grinned and crept up behind the bird and very loudly said, "Bah!" The bird burst out laughing. "You funny dog," she said, and flew off. At last, Woof met another dog. "What am I supposed to say when I see a bird?" he asked. The dog looked at him in amusement. "Woof," he said, "you silly Billy." "Of course," said Woof. He's now suddenly realised what he has to do. Woof saw another bird. "Now I'll make you jump," he chuckled. "Now I know what to say." There's the other bird. And there's Woof. Look, you just see Woof hiding behind the tree. So what's Woof going to say this time? And he crept up behind the bird and opened his mouth and shut it again. He'd forgotten what the other dog had told him. He thought and thought, and then it came back to him what the other dog had told him. He was supposed to say when he saw a bird. So what do you think that was, Oscar? He opened his mouth again and he shouted as loud as he could at the bird. You silly Billy, he shouted. Oh, he's such a nonsense, isn't he? My goodness. Woof's a little bit silly. So we've got time for a bit of Sniff. Sniff is a sort of rabbit from Timbuktu. He was Sniff was a sort of rabbit, a Timbuktu rabbit. He lived in Carrot Cottage in Timbuktu. Do you like carrots, Oscar? Bunny rabbits love carrots. He was a funny bunny, was Sniff, which was all to do with carrots. He ate carrots for every single meal. And in between every single meal, guess what Sniff liked to nibble at? That's right. Carrots. Carrots, of course. Sniff would eat carrots until the cows came home. But one day, disaster struck. It was just an ordinary sort of a day, just like any other day. It might have been a Monday, but then again, it probably wasn't. And there he is. Sniff is waking up. The sun is out. It looks like a lovely day. Sniff had what he always had for breakfast. And you know what that is, don't you? You know what Oscar, he had for... What do you think he had? Cornflakes? No. Yes, he had to start with, he had a bowl of carrot flakes, not cornflakes, followed by carrot marmalade on toasted slices of carrot. And to finish, a nice hot cup of carrot coffee. Ooh, not sure about that, are you? Smiled Sniff, what a nice carroty way to start the day. And he sat down in his favourite armchair to read the newspaper, the Timbuktu Times. So there he is, reading the newspaper. And there it was on the front page, disaster. Due to the recent lack of rain in Timbuktu, said the newspaper, no carrots have been grown, and the carrot shops are empty. Oh, Oscar, what's Sniff going to do? Sniff was so upset by this terrible news that he rushed off to ask his Timbuktu friends whatever he could do. They were not very helpful, to say the least. So there's Sniff rushing off, looking very sad. No carrots, said Moo, eat grass. Moo was a sort of cow, and not very helpful sort of cow. We've met Moo before, haven't we? No carrots, said Buzz, eat honey. Buzz was a sort of bee, and not very helpful bee. Oh dear. No carrots, said Squeak, eat cheese. Squeak was a sort of mouse. Bee is, and not very helpful sort of mouse. Grass, cried Sniff, honey, cheese, and went home. A tear trickled down his cheek. Oh, he sniffed, I'll starve. Oh no, nothing to eat. That's terrible, isn't it, Oscar? He went slowly and miserably through the gate of Carrot Cottage. But standing on the doorstep of Carrot Cottage, who should Sniff find? Woof. There's Woof. Woof was a sort of dog, a very helpful sort of dog. Hello, Sniff, he called out cheerfully. Brought you a present. Oh, Sniff sniffs mournfully. Come and see. All right, sighed Sniff dolefully. Follow me. If you insist, agreed Sniff. He followed Woof inside, and what do you think he found? Sitting on the kitchen table. There they are, going into the house. What is on the kitchen table? Not 1 carrot, not 10 carrots, Oscar, not 100 carrots, but 1,000 carrots. Look at all the carrots. Sniff's going to be all right. Well, actually, there were 999 carrots because Woof had eaten one while he was waiting for Sniff. A present, grinned Woof, for you, he chuckled, from me. But, cried Sniff, the newspaper said there were no carrots. Woof laughed. It was a mistake, he explained. The Timbuktu Times was wrong. Oh, no. So, instead of saying due to the recent lack of rain in Timbuktu, no carrots have been grown and the carrot shops are empty, they should have said due to the recent lot of rain in Timbuktu, more carrots have been grown and the carrot shops have plenty. And Sniff, of course, is very happy. Sniff sighed, heaved a sigh of relief. Thank heavens, he laughed. Let's have dinner. And they did, to start carrot soup, followed by roast carrot with carrots, and carrot gravy. What's for pudding? Asked Woof. Sniff smiled. What do you think's for pudding, Oscar? Carrots and custard, he said. So that's lovely, isn't it? Lovely stories, Oscar. Lots of love from me and Granny and lots of love to you and Annabelle and Mummy and Daddy, and we'll catch up soon. Bye.